Welcome back to part two of my conversation with Kevin Mackenzie, the Clarington Trustee and Chair of the PVNC Catholic Board of Trustees. Kevin, thank you for being here and welcome back to our conversation, which was recorded 3 minutes after the original part.
Thank you.
Josh Glover is the other PVNC Catholic trustee for Clarington. He has been censured for something, and we're not going into those details here by any stretch. Bottom line is he is unable to attend most meetings and unable to attend school councils, etc. How does this necessarily affect his ability to represent his constituents? And then I'll just let you carry on with, do you think that this can be resolved before the end of the term in the fall of 2026? Is there a path for resolution, at least?
Well, thank you for the opportunity to come back again for part two, and thank you for the question. So Trustee Glover will return to the board table at our annual meeting, which is on or around mid-November 2025. And he continues to be a voice for students and families of Clarington. Our constituents are welcome to contact him with their questions or comments, so he can bring those questions and comments to the attention of the Board of Trustees through the chairperson, myself, the director, superintendents, or anyone else that can help the student or their family solve a problem or address a comment. Trustee Glover was also invited to Clarington's Canada Day celebrations, the Mayor's Levy, Black History Month opening ceremony, Asian History Month opening ceremony, the groundbreaking ceremony for the new Bowmanville School, to be interviewed here at Exit 425 just a few months ago, and most recently at St. Stephen's Bowmanville School graduation. So there is lots of opportunities for community engagement for Trustee Glover and for him to represent our Clarington constituents. I am the second half of Trustee Glover and the trustees for Clarington. So whenever my constituent reaches out to just me, I always forward an email or copy Trustee Glover, or if there was just a phone call from the constituent, I'll surmise it in an email and send it to Trustee Glover in my reply. So he's never left in the dark on matters involving reach outs from the community concerned. So he'll be he's up to speed on anything in the community and is invited to many things to stay engaged.
Awesome. Is there a process for appraising or evaluating education staff, teachers, admin, superintendents? And at one point in time, there was consideration of input from parents and guardians. Does that happen for anyone?
Yes, all of our staff participate in a performance appraisal process. Teachers and administrators have a process that is governed by legislation. And recently, new legislation has been introduced that governs the director's performance appraisal process that includes a broad consultation with parent representatives in our schools, as well as many, many other stakeholders. I'd be surprised if you didn't get an invite to participate. It's that broad. We're currently in the process of applying this legislation, and we'll be using the input from parents in the appraisal of our director. And the performance of non-aligned staff is also appraised on a regular schedule.
One of the 6 priorities for your board, and what really makes you distinct from a public board of education, is your number 1. We will live the Christian message and promote the cause of Catholic education. How well are you able to make that happen in Ontario in 2024?
Well, Steve, I'll just have to correct you. I think you said 6. There's 8 strategic priorities, with inspiring faith being the very first priority. And that's followed by valuing relationships, nurturing mental health and well-being, providing excellence in teaching and learning, ensuring equity, expanding technology, protecting the environment, and maximizing resources. And they fall under our 3 pillars, which are being creative, being well, and being community. Whether it's our vision to create a culture of faith, hope, and love to ensure equity and well-being, or our vision to accompany our students as we strive for excellence in Catholic education, our Catholic faith is the forefront in everything that we do. Our job as Catholic trustees is to make this distinction clear and to ensure that we don't ever stray from our Catholic values. This is what makes us distinct and why families often seek seek our Catholic schools. Excuse me. Ontario is becoming increasingly diverse, and I truly believe that our Catholic values have at the heart of their openness to equity and inclusion, and that resonate with people in 2024 and beyond. We want to make sure that everybody who enters our Catholic schools feel nurtured, supported, and our current strategic priorities are helping us meet this commitment now and in the future.
There's a high-profile legal case now with several boards of education suing some popular social media companies. Will PVNC Catholic join that suit? And is it do you think that the recent introduction of the provincial government's cell phone ban, maybe reintroduction, is it the government's response or reaction to the suit? What do you think?
Well, first, the Board of Trustees has had time to review that opportunity to join the lawsuit, and PVNC Catholic Board has opted not to join the legal proceedings at this time. And unfortunately, that's all I can say about that at the moment. With regards to the cell phones, I think this cell phone ban is simply part of societal reckoning with how invasive and distracting the use of cell phones in classrooms have become. We welcome this new initiative, and the staff have been updating policies and procedures to align with this new direction, which will see no cell phones allowed in elementary schools and only limited amount in secondary schools. Teachers will have the authority vested by the Ministry of Education and supported through the board procedures to remove the distraction that cell phones causes in the classroom. We are optimistic that this will be a great benefit to both staff and students.
As an admin who still goes into schools and does some supply admin work, I continue to see this distraction in action all the time. And one thing that's people don't think about is how the cell phone has turned the trip to the bathroom into probably twice or three times the length of time that it would normally take. So it truly is a distraction. And I was never a teacher that had cell phones in the classroom, so I can't attest to that, but I know from their experience that it is one of the, if not the biggest problem in schools right now. It's certainly one of the biggest.
Yeah.
So this question is not meant to attack the current government, but rather thinking about governments in general. This is not your first round of being a trustee. But perhaps considering municipal and provincial governments, which you've worked with for several years, what's the most frustrating part of dealing with the government of the day?
Well, as a trustee, I don't look at the politics of education in terms of frustration. The people of Ontario go to the polls every 4 years and elect a government and give that government a mandate to enact their priorities. So every government comes with new education priorities, and it's our role as trustees to work with the governments, whether they are PC, Liberal, NDP, or Green, and to diplomatically advocate for the best interest of our students. As previously mentioned about working with MPPs, mayors, and so forth, and others, I firmly believe in a strong bipartisan cohesion. No matter the Ontario government in power, the local MP or MP and political party, we must all put our political differences aside for the sake of our constituents, and in this case, our students. As a Catholic system, successful governments from different political stripes have continued to strongly support public funding of Catholic education. Our role as Catholic trustees is to ensure that support doesn't wane and that we continually demonstrate the value of publicly funded Catholic education in Ontario now and well into the future.
Do you feel that public boards and Catholic boards are treated differently by governments?
I don't think so. It's been my experience that look at the new school that we got. It was right around the same time. Maybe the announcement was a couple of weeks prior for KPR, but we're going to be in the same area off of North Glen in North Bowmanville, and it's So I wouldn't say there's priority one over the other, or favoritisms or anything like that. So.
And do you ever get a sense from anyone that has any kind of authority? It's one thing to see it on social media, if ever, but it's something else when it's someone in authority that questions the viability of a Catholic school system alongside a public school system.
Well, that hasn't happened, knock on wood, for a little while. But that's why we continue to always advocate, even when it's sunny skies. You never know. You always bring an umbrella just to be prepared. So if the time comes, but you ask any of the trustees that are on our board, for any Catholic trustee really, they're ready to scream from the rooftops to advocate for Catholic education, and that's uh, it's been in Ontario for many years, and I'm quite confident that it'll be in Ontario for many more.
Certainly, success is the best promoter, and with many successful graduates throughout Ontario and throughout our economy and throughout our total fabric of Ontario, then you've got strong reasons and strong promotions for keeping that Catholic system. That's awesome. What's been the highlight of so far in this term for you? Maybe add in what you're looking forward to, and what can the residents of Clarington look forward to in the next 2 years in the PVNC Catholic, as I've now learned to call them, including perhaps that brand new school.
Yeah, that's definitely an easy one. As mentioned previously, it's the groundbreaking at the corner of North Glen and Middle Road, for Bowmanville's newest Catholic school, and that wasn't just the highlight of the year, but it was probably a career highlight for me, for sure. And I know Clarington residents will be watching excitedly as the building gets underway. I can't believe they'll have it completed by September 2026. I think that's amazing. We did in fact go visit a school on the west of Toronto. That's a sort of a cookie cutter of this one that's going in. So we were able to take in our observations as trustees, as well as do some suggestions that say, hey, maybe we should do it this way, or maybe if we can move this over here, so that it's better for us as a board. So I really like the fact that they were able to, we had a bus trip and went out there back in the spring, and so it was great to see that, and sort of imagine PVNC Catholic school there. So that was quite good. But as we celebrate our first school in PVNC Catholic since 2008, as I mentioned, let me assure our students and our families that the Board of Trustees advocacy for new builds, additions, and other major projects will not stop, and I look forward to working with other provincial leaders on much needed projects, as I mentioned, meeting with the MPP in Northumberland, and perhaps in the future the one up in Lindsay and in Peterborough, for any issues that those schools are having. I would love to be able to advocate for them as well in due course. So for Clarington specifically, as I mentioned, with our new school up north, as well as to hopefully help with the parks and upkeep or new parks, that sort of thing, then in shared spaces. That's another thing I'm continuing to advocate for, and I look forward to the next 2 years and beyond, to advocating and helping the students and the families of this great municipality of Clarington.
That's awesome. And I know from talking to people like Granville Anderson, parks are a big issue because of how the recent budgets have played out, and different forms of recent legislation that have really challenged a municipality's ability to include parks in various communities. So collaboration is always a good thing, and that's terrific. So one question I have that you're totally not prepared for, but when the trustees take a trip, who's in charge, and do you count off like you would on a regular school trip, just to make sure everybody's back on the bus.
Well, the bus driver's in charge, let me say that. But he told us to keep it down. But yeah, we went with a few superintendents and a few trustees, and it was a great little road trip. They said, we're not making any extra stops, so no hour lunches or anything like that. But we all brown bagged it, and it was a great, lots and lots of ideas and notes when we're in the building, and lots of collaboration and talking about different things on the way back. So we appreciated the opportunity, and thanks St. Charles, the school that we went to go visit, immensely.
Just having been on so many bus trips and been in charge for so many of them as well, I just was curious on how we managed attendance and behavior for trustees and superintendents on a bus trip. So I'm glad you recognized that the driver was in charge.
That's
there
right.
You go. So thank you, Kevin Mackenzie, for meeting me here at Exit 425. How can parents and families of PVNC Catholic students reach you to discuss their child's experience with PVNC Catholic?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at Kevin A. Mackenzie, and they can reach out to me by phone at 289-356-7838, or they can reach me on the PVNC email at kmackenzie at PVNCDSB.on.ca. And if you missed all that, you can certainly go on the PVNC Catholic website, click Meet the Trustees, and get all that information, as well as other trustee information as well.
And certainly I'll include all that on the video and as part of the information box for the audio podcast. And you're right, the navigation to your information on the PVNC Catholic website is excellent. So
Great.
Kevin, thank you. Thank you once again for meeting me here at Exit 425. Thank you for listening to this episode of Exit 425. Please like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube. Our mission is to provide substantial information and education that goes where you want, because it's where we live. Exit 425 is a production of Studio 38 Audio, copyright 2024. My name is Steve Ray. If you have any questions or would like more information about Exit 425, join our Exit 425 Facebook group, like the Facebook page, check out Instagram, Medium, LinkedIn, X, and TikTok, or email me at exit425-401@gmail.com. Exit 425. It's where we live. Which goes on for a bit.